actor, director, writer.
Ceara Lynch, and I played Ceara Lynch.
I'm Sarah Armanious, and I played Rose.
Hi, I'm Jonathan. I'm the producer, Jonathon Green. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, everyone. So I was trying to think about how I would classify this film in terms of genre, and I thought about it as an eroto docu-thriller, which I felt brilliant when I came up with that earlier today. How did this film come to be? Who dreamed it up, and did it start off in your mind in the way that it ended up for us to see today?
Can you take that question? Yeah, I get sick of. It's more interesting when you say it. You know.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Well, Julian approached me in the movie. I think it looks like I approached him, but he actually approached me, and it started out. He was producing or directing a series about entrepreneurs, and it was a docu-series. And he found me on the internet. I don't know exactly how he found me, but he found me, contacted me, and wanted me to be the subject for one of the episodes. And then I was like, yeah, sure, I've done that sort of thing before. And he came out to Portland and followed me around and thought that there was just more to be said about me, and decided he wanted to do, at first, a documentary, like a pure documentary. And then once he found out that I'm kind of a boring subject because I'm like relatively happy and well-adjusted, and that's not very interesting for cinema, he decided to make it a hybrid documentary, and so that's where you get the fictional storyline woven within it. So it was a process.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd add to that, you know, I knew after 3 days filming you, as much as I liked you and we had chemistry and we had a lot of great conversations, but I didn't have faith in the documentary because you were too well adjusted. I mean, you can't make a film without conflict. I've done 2 feature documentaries before, and you realize with Jonathon too producing, I mean, you have to really get into the nitty gritty to keep people's attention for an hour. And I thought it was better to actually fictionalize truths about your world, and that would allow me to ironically go deeper and be more honest. Like, I think this fictionalized film is more truthful than my documentary would have been, and I mean that sincerely.
Because I just want to say one more thing. Oh, sure.
Just the lights a bit better on this side.
I mean, Julie and I have made a couple of films before this together. We've been working together for a long time, and this was something that evolved all the way through the entire process until we locked off the picture. This was never there was a script. It was a very different script to the film that it ended up being. A lot of this film was conceived in the edit suite. It's a very unusually made film in that regard. And Sarah, who plays Julian's ex-girlfriend Rose in the film, you were together with Julian for a long time, right?
I am, in fact, Julian's ex-girlfriend. So I guess I won the part quite easily.
And would you say that... Because, Sarah, that footage of you and Julian where he breaks up with you, do you want to talk about that?
The footage, or some of the footage that Julian took, which is the breakup scene, was actually our breakup. And Julian, you know, as you say, the film really progressed in a way that it became a whole other thing, and he approached me and said, I'd like you to play this part, and actually I'd like to use this footage, which I was comfortable in allowing him to do so. And now, of course, that belongs to the film. Anyway, it's sort of completely reshaped it. Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
So thank you for letting that be in the film.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So I think we have time for a few audience questions, and we've got some mics, so put your hand up and someone will come and put a microphone in your face so that you can ask questions of these fabulous people.
This could be a controversial question, but how much of the sex stuff is real?
We haven't actually had this one before. Do we want to break the illusion? Let's just say that Ceara and I have a professional relationship. Sometimes we don't want people to think that because it's kind of more fun, but the truth is she's one of my best friends. And you know, we shot that scene quite late in the piece after we had developed a lot of trust. And you know, it's funny you mentioned that scene. That's to me the most important scene in the film, kind of the sex scene and then the backstory for my character. It was very precarious, and we did film it once before, and it didn't work out so great, right?
Yeah.
It was a little aggressive, the first one. You saw the rushes, you said, we can't use that. I said, I completely agree. What a shame we have to reshoot the sex scene. But yeah, very happy with it. Do you have anything to add to that?
No.
All right. Let's just let people think about it what they want. That's what I'll say. Yeah.
Great. Any more questions?
First of all, great film. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the concept of shifting a documentary into a thriller. The conclusion at the end kind of reminded me of the film The Game. Did you know it?
Yeah, for sure, and I really like that film. I mean, frankly, I think our film is more plausible because it's a conspiracy of three. Like, if you rewatch Use Me, you can see that Luke, Cassie, or Rose are always kind of guiding my character through it. The Game has a conspiracy of thousands of people, and the budget for it would have been, I guess, like $100 million. But, you know, I can suspend disbelief and go with a movie, right? I can just go on the journey. And what I realized quickly with this was if I tried to make it real the whole way through, oh, it's all real, it's all a documentary, I didn't want to make that film. This was never about a gotcha. I was never trying to trick the audience into thinking this was real. We've been transparent from the beginning. This is a fictional movie. It's just extremely close to real life. In some instances, it's made from real life. But just like Ceara's work, we blur the line between what's real and what's fiction. And sometimes even we got confused.
Maybe one more?
Hey.
Hi.
So with blurring the line between fiction and reality, how are you finding, how are you sitting with that now? Like, perception of you and the film and reality and fiction, your life? Like, how are you handling that as a filmmaker post this film having a life?
Well, we'll see. I mean, once you've shown it in your hometown, it's a very different thing. And you guys know, Kane and Hannah, you're great filmmakers, and I love the movie that you guys made for now. It's up to the audience. You know, people are going to watch this and they'll think things about me or Ceara or Sarah or Jonathon even. And, you know, it's in the world now. It's really out of your control. We're comfortable with that. You know, I've got to say, as chaotic and crazy as this film seems, I mean, we've never been so in control creatively of a process. It's definitely the most I've ever been in control as a director. It was a very wholesome life making this film, ironically. All the craziness is up on screen, so I think we're at peace with it, would be the answer. How do you feel about being Ceara in the movie and Ceara in real life?
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I don't know, I've been doing my job for over a decade now, and so I'm kind of used to having a persona or an alter ego, and I don't know, it's just something I've gotten used to, and so this was just kind of a, you know, different way of manifesting that. So yeah, like you said, it's out there and you don't really have much control over it after you put art out there, but I'm happy with it, I'm proud of it.
If you're going to wrap it up. Okay, just before the wrap up, I want to remind you that Ceara's having a financial domination workshop coming up very soon, 6 o'clock. So it's just over there, so go outside and you can get a ticket and go and see that. I recommend it would be quite interesting. Do you want to sell it now?
Sure. Yeah, so I think workshop is a bit of a funny term. I'm not going to have like handouts or do demonstrations or anything like that. I really tried to design it for what I suspect this audience is, which is just mostly fans of film, people that maybe think my work is interesting and want a little peek behind the curtain. Yeah, that's what I'm going to offer. And so I'm going to basically tell the story of my work and what I've learned, and then I will open it up to Q&A for the rest of the time, and you guys can ask me whatever you want.
And I'll just jump in one more time and say that after that, we're going to be sticking around and having a drink because we're so appreciative of so many friends and family coming out and checking out the movie and supporting Julian and myself in particular and Ceara. We'd love to have a drink with you. We're going to go to the workshop first, and then after that, if you can stick around, we'd love to see you there. So hopefully we will.
So give these guys a round of applause.